welcome. So today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to alter a JSK using its waist ties. So you're gonna need a needle, some thread that matches your JSK, a seam ripper and a whole bunch of pins, and then obviously the JSK you're going to alter. Here's mine, it's from Baby Starshine Bright. It's really cute and only had partial shirring, so I decided to add in some side panels using the conveniently located waist ties. So I like to do my one side at a time, and what you're going to do, you're going to take your seam ripper, get right into that seam that's in the armpit, and get ripping those seams. No credit on how I'm using this seam ripper completely wrong. Yeah, this is probably the most satisfying bit for me, where you're just like, yep, let's destroy the brand. Okay, so I'm adding this in here before I forget, but when you're seam ripping the waistband, you need to make sure to let out some of the gathers on the skirt section of your dress, otherwise you will end up having not quite enough space. What else I do is I take the waist tie, and where these ones are pointed, fold the ends over and pin them. I will sew these later. I did this now before I forgot. This is me showing where I've pinned everything in, because I stupidly didn't film me doing pinning, and then I realised I hadn't left enough space at the bottom. So what you have to do here is measure how wide your gap is and how wide your waist ties are and how much you need. I literally just do to the width of the waist tie and rely on the back shirring that I have to carry me the rest of the way. So here's me seam ripping, measuring, pinning, checking. There we go. Right, it's now time to pin in the waist ties. What I do is I pin it so that the outer edge touches the outer edge. So if you can see here where I'm pinning it, so it looks like it's on the outside, it's actually not. And then yeah, the same thing on the other side. If it's easier for you to do it while you turn it inside out, then it's fine. I just do it this way. And yeah, when it's pinned, that's the best time to check it. So you end up with this like little square where you can see the waist tie, or a rectangle, depending on how wide everything is. Usually it'll be a rectangle. Now I made a bit of an error here, but I do fix this later. But there we go, there's it all pinned in place. I'm quite happy with this. And then we're ready to start sewing. So you don't have to start in a specific place, but it is easier if you turn it inside out. What else I did was I keep the rest of the waist tie in case I decide to sew on the dress, so I did fold it up. So I started on this side, I cut my thread, threaded my needle, and then just got to town. As usual, I did, I think it's called running back stitch. I find this is the most secure hand stitch. You can of course do this by machine. I just still don't have a functional sewing machine, because of course not. So here's with one edge done and the pins taken out. You can see I actually did this quite nicely. I'm very proud of myself. Took the pin out of the bottom, and this is where I'm working out what I'm doing on the bottom. So I folded a bit over to match the level of the front of the waistband. I did not do this very well on this side. I did it much better on the other side, I do promise. I will show that at the end. So there's me now seam ripping the other side because I kept forgetting to turn on my camera. The other side was much harder due to the zip and the placement of the hook and eye on this dress, but we got there in the end. So we've got some pinning. I think I might actually be sewing here. Super sped up because this was 25 minutes of video of me hand sewing a zip. It helps if you look as well, if you've got a dress with a zip, how it's sewn in on the other side so that it matches. I did a fair bit of investigation before I started. Here I am zooming. As you can see, I'm quite a strange worker, and here we have it. So this is the side with the zip. You can see how I did the bottom just there, and how it all sits, and the top section of the waist tie I did sew down using the same stitching as I did for the bottom. So here's the inside. You can barely see my stitching. I'm really proud of this. Here's the rest of the waist tie before I tacked it down. Now, I did make a really big mistake on this waistband when I was seam ripping it, and here we have it on. I am very happy with this for a alteration. This was actually only my third, and I'll see you next time.